In Season 13, Episode 17 of The Curse of Oak Island, the hunt took a jaw-dropping twist deep beneath the infamous money pit. This wasn't just another sample, another faint signal, or a random blip on the scanner. This was something entirely different. Sharp, focused, and undeniable. And it wasn't just a clue. It was gold, an estimated $250 million worth, lying exactly where legends have said it should be for centuries. As the team pushed deeper into the garden shaft, new core samples revealed levels of gold unlike anything previously seen. Not scattered across the island, not loosely connected miles away, but clustered, precise, and directly within the money pit itself. For decades, gold readings around Oak Island sparked endless debate. Natural deposits or proof of a hidden fortune? In Episode 17, the evidence became impossible to ignore. The readings weren't random. They were clustered, consistent, and aligned with the original searcher tunnels. Even wood fragments recovered from deep below showed deliberate human modification, evidence that centuries of work had altered the underground landscape. And the numbers? Scientific testing confirmed gold concentrations far above normal Nova Scotia soil levels, enough to suggest a significant source buried nearby. For the first time this season, the money pit didn't just hold mystery. It held real, measurable proof of treasure. The big question remains, is this $250 million in gold resting directly beneath the pit, or just inches from another clever dead end? In Episode 17, the hunt didn't just continue, it tightened. And for the first time in years, the team seemed closer than ever. Gold beneath the money pit. And maybe, just maybe, this is only the start. Subscribe now and be part of our journey to 10,000 treasure hunters. Don't miss a single discovery. But the money pit wasn't the only place raising eyebrows. One of the episode's most gripping developments centers on the enormous boulder discovered on Lot 8. From the beginning, it was clear this wasn't an ordinary rock formation. The massive stone rests atop smaller, evenly arranged stones, a setup that several archaeologists agree is unlikely to be natural. Beneath it, a trench filled with rubble adds to the evidence that this feature was intentionally engineered. The implications are staggering. At some point in the past, possibly centuries ago, someone invested tremendous effort to dig beneath that stone. Why? What makes it even more intriguing is what lies underneath. A snake camera reveals open voids, along with what appears to be an iron spike, and even a small glimmer that some believe resembles a pearl-like object. Suddenly, the theory shifts. Could this boulder be more than a marker? Could it be a deliberate plug, designed to seal and conceal whatever rests below? That distinction matters. A searcher digs to find. A builder plugs to hide. One suggests curiosity. The other suggests secrecy. As always on Oak Island, tension builds over how to proceed. Marty Lagina pushes for action, eager to move quickly. The archaeologists urge patience, emphasizing the importance of preserving context. In the end, caution wins. The team carefully removes surrounding stones and excavates by hand before considering lifting the massive rock itself. It's a sign of growth in the search, an understanding that rushing could erase clues forever, and that patience delivers. Beneath one of the lifted stones, they uncover a small but potentially significant artifact, a fragment of red-dyed fabric. Easy to overlook at first glance, yet deeply compelling upon closer examination. Its position beneath the boulder suggests it predates modern search efforts. Lab testing reveals the cloth is wool, produced using a weft knitting technique and dyed with a natural red pigment, not a synthetic one. That detail sparks historical curiosity. Red-dyed wool has strong ties to medieval England, particularly the city of Leeds, a major wool production center as early as the 13th century. The connection becomes even more intriguing when the team recalls an English bag seal found nearby weeks earlier, stamped with a sheep emblem, also linked to Leeds. While no one jumps to conclusions, the possibility that these artifacts are related is captivating. Together, they hint that individuals connected to medieval European trade, or at least to wool goods from that era, may have reached Oak Island long before recorded search history began. Meanwhile, Drilling in the money pit intensifies. Multiple boreholes push deeper into the so-called solution channel, an underground feature that's become central to this season's strategy. Years of collapse and drilling may have caused any original deposit to sink into this channel, and the team is now targeting that possibility. Core samples from depths exceeding 200 feet consistently reveal loose material instead of solid bedrock, a promising sign that objects could have migrated and collected there. Suspense builds as metal detectors register signals in freshly extracted cores. At first, those signals seem to vanish when the cores are moved, creating frustration. But metal detecting expert Gary Drayton identifies tiny metallic fragments embedded in the soil, possibly silver. This aligns with previous sediment and water tests showing elevated precious metal levels in the same zone. The real breakthrough comes later in the war room. Dr. Ian Spooner, Emma Culligan, and Jillian present XRF, testing results that demand attention. Soil from multiple boreholes, including I-9.5 and K-9.5, contains unusually high concentrations of elemental silver. Crucially, this silver isn't dissolved. It's bound to clay particles, suggesting a nearby non-natural source. Gold clustered, silver bound in clay, engineered wood at depth, a deliberate stone plug, medieval fabric. Piece by piece, the evidence is beginning to stack up. The mystery of Oak Island isn't solved yet, but in episode 17, it feels more tangible than ever. The team makes it clear, silver at those levels doesn't just appear by accident in local bedrock. It doesn't randomly bind itself to clay in concentrated pockets. That kind of signature points to human involvement, possibly remnants of treasure that once sat higher in the money pit system before centuries of collapse pushed it downward. Those results breathe new life into an old story, the reported discovery of a 14th century Portuguese coin in the 1800s by James Pitblotto. When the team compares the locations of their recent drill hits to where fragments of Pitblotto's drill rod were previously found, a pattern starts to emerge. Activity, collapse, repeated disturbance over time. Suddenly, the solution channel no longer looks like a failed dig site. It begins to resemble a collection point, a place where objects may have settled after generations of drilling, flooding, and structural breakdown. At the same time, momentum builds in the swamp. Gary Drayton, Peter Fornetti, Tom Nolan, and Alan Andrews continue tracing a cobblestone feature that runs in an unusually straight line across the marsh. The discovery of bricks embedded among the stones eliminates any lingering doubt. Bricks don't form naturally. Carefully shaped wood doesn't either, and tightly arranged stone platforms definitely don't. Everything about the layout signals deliberate construction. The alignment of multiple cobbled sections suggests more than scattered features. It hints at a roadway or causeway, possibly one leading toward previously identified vault areas, possibly connecting to other stone structures uncovered in different parts of the island. What makes these swamp finds so compelling is their order, their intention. The team notes how certain features line up with survey markers and even appear to curve purposefully, perhaps in the direction of Lot 8. That realization opens the door to a much bigger possibility. The swamp, the Lot 8 boulder, and the money pit may not be isolated puzzles. They could be components of a single coordinated design. If that's true, it implies planning on a scale far beyond what casual explorers or early settlers would have attempted. By the end of episode 17, one word captures the moment: convergence. Medieval wool, an English trade seal, deep underground silver concentrations, engineered stone pathways, separate threads, now beginning to intersect. Together, they suggest organized human activity on Oak Island long before recorded search history began. Proof remains just out of reach, but the sense of proximity is undeniable. The decision to bring in heavy caisson drilling equipment and push further into the solution channel represents a major escalation. It reflects confidence grounded not in speculation, but in accumulated data and years of hard-won findings. Meanwhile, the careful hand excavation around the Lot 8 boulder continues, holding the potential to reshape the entire narrative of the island. In many ways, episode 17 captures the true essence of the curse of Oak Island. It isn't about instant treasure, It's about assembling layers of evidence, respecting history, following clues, even when they complicate the story instead of simplifying it. As the episode closes, anticipation hangs in the air. Whether the team stands on the brink of uncovering treasure, rewriting history, or both, Oak Island proves once again that its greatest power lies in the mysteries it refuses to surrender easily. Beyond the physical discoveries, this episode reframes the island itself. No longer just a single-point enigma centered on the money pit, Oak Island begins to look like an engineered system, an interconnected landscape where the swamp pathways, the Lot 8 boulder, and the subterranean structures may have functioned together. That systems-based perspective marks a shift from earlier seasons that focused heavily on isolated finds. Now, the evidence hints at deliberate large-scale planning, knowledge of terrain, materials, drainage, concealment, a design that required foresight and coordination. The Lot 8 boulder becomes a powerful symbol of that theory. The possibility that it was placed over a carefully prepared cavity suggests immense labor and intention. Such an effort wouldn't have been undertaken casually, and the growing belief that it was positioned manually rather than with modern machinery strengthens the argument that it predates industrial intervention. If confirmed, it could be one of the island's oldest and most sophisticated concealment features. Just as meaningful is the reminder that small artifacts can carry enormous weight. The fragment of red wool might seem minor compared to gold or silver, but it may offer something even more valuable: context. Precious metals can be melted, moved, or lost. Textiles, dyes, and weaving techniques carry cultural fingerprints. A naturally dyed red wool fragment, discovered beneath a massive stone, strongly indicates human presence from a specific historical era. That shifts the focus from what was buried to who was there and why. The connection between the wool fragment and the English bag seal becomes one of the episode's most satisfying intellectual moments. Rather than claiming definitive proof, the team builds a careful case through linked evidence. Leeds' historic role in wool production provides a plausible explanation without overstating conclusions. It's a reminder that history is often reconstructed through patterns, not proclamations. Back in the money pit, repeated deep metal detections reinforce the idea that the solution channel is more than a geological anomaly. It may represent a secondary deposit zone, an archaeological layer formed by centuries of disturbance. Step by step, the evidence accumulates. Episode 17 doesn't hand over answers. Instead, it tightens the web. And for the first time in a long while, every strand seems to be pulling in the same direction. The moments when metal detector signals suddenly disappear perfectly capture how unpredictable collapsed underground environments can be. Cavities shift, materials move, signals weaken or scatter. It's frustrating, but it's also part of working in a space that has been disturbed for centuries. What stands out is how the team responds. Instead of rushing ahead, they repeat tests, double-check readings, and send samples for lab analysis. That methodical approach feels worlds apart from the aggressive, often reckless digging of earlier treasure hunters. Dr. Spooner's explanation about elemental silver binding to clay particles becomes one of the episode's most important insights. Silver formed naturally in the surrounding geology wouldn't behave that way. Dissolved metals would disperse more evenly through soil and water. But concentrated particles clinging to clay suggest something different, a localized source, possibly objects that once remained intact before slipping downward into the solution channel after years of collapse. That detail alone pushes the episode beyond guesswork. It transforms possibility into something measurable, something grounded. Meanwhile, the swamp investigation gains real momentum. Bricks embedded within cobblestone platforms effectively silence the idea that these features formed naturally. Roads and causeways don't appear by accident. They're built for purpose, especially in difficult terrain like a swamp. If heavy materials needed to be transported, treasure, construction supplies, or even massive stones like those seen on Lot 8, then a structured pathway would make sense. What makes the swamp discoveries even more compelling is their directionality. Several cobbled features align in a way that appears intentional even curving with purpose. Roads are designed to connect meaningful destinations. The possibility that this pathway links multiple key sites across the island hints at something far larger: an organized logistical system. Infrastructure like that implies coordination, planning, resources, not scattered attempts, but a unified operation. On a human level, Episode 17 also reflects the quiet determination that has sustained Rick and Marty Lagina for decades. Their reactions are measured, controlled. Experience has taught them not to celebrate too early. Yet when Rick mentions feeling closer than ever, it carries weight. Beneath the science and strategy lies something deeply personal. The pursuit is about understanding as much as it is about treasure. By the closing moments, Episode 17 feels less like a routine chapter and more like a milestone. Archaeology, metallurgy, geology, and historical research begin converging into a coherent picture. Whether treasure ultimately surfaces or not, the team appears to be uncovering something equally meaningful: a hidden narrative of Oak Island itself. A story shaped by deliberate planning, extraordinary effort, and human ingenuity on a scale few once believed possible.